Welcome, team. Welcome, team. It is Monday, September 29th, 2025. It is so good to see you all this beautiful and amazing Monday morning here in Austin, Texas. I trust and hope that you all had an absolutely amazing weekend this past weekend. Beautiful outside, beautiful weather. Super grateful to be living in Austin here going into the fall weather. All of my friends up north are freezing and it's like, no, it's perfect. It's great. It's fantastic. Love Austin during this season. Thank you for joining our Monday morning touch point where we will do a complete market overview, take a look at inventory, see what's going on within the Austin area. But more importantly, we are going to update our famous new listing depending ratio, the single best leading market indicator available for the entire area. That is where we take a look at the ratio between properties that are coming into the market, new listings, plus back on the market. We take a look at price increases. We take a look at price drops. We look at the difference between price increases and price drop just to see where the market is heading towards. But really, most importantly, we take a look at the active, under contract, and pending. And then we simply divide what's coming into the market by what's being absorbed by the market. And we come up with a very simple and effective ratio. If that ratio is 1.00, we've got what we call a perfect market equilibrium. 100 properties come into the market. 100 properties get absorbed by the market. Inventory neither goes up nor goes down. You've got that perfect market equilibrium. When the ratio is under 1, that means that we have more listings entering the market as opposed to being absorbed by the market. That's if the ratio is under 1, meaning if the ratio comes out to 0.75, that means that 100 properties came into the market and 75 properties were absorbed by the market. If the ratio is over 1, meaning 125, that means that 100 properties came into the market and 125 properties were absorbed by the market. The higher the ratio, the hotter the market. The lower the ratio, the cooler the market. You are going to be able to find the new listing depending ratio by going to Insight and Statistics. And everything that I just described is right here interpreting the new listing depending ratio, where if you've got a ratio below 0.5, it is a very cold market. It's a market that's not moving. It's going to give you a strong buyer advantage. A ratio between 0.5 and 0.6, we like to call that a market where there's a substantial inventory growth. The market is soft with clear oversupply. Buyers can negotiate aggressively and sellers must price sharply to attract attention. Between 0.6 and 0.7, that's going to be a tangible growth in inventory. Inventory is building, absorption is steady, enough to keep the market moving, but it still favors buyers. Between 0.7 and 0.85, we're going to transition to a neutral market, 0.85 to 1, leaning towards a seller's market, 1 to 1.1, a seller's market. Anything over 1.1 is going to be a very hot market, a strong seller's market. So you can find the definition at teamprice.com. Go to Insight and Statistics, go to new listing depending ratio, and you're going to be able to see not only the definitions, but also this updated resource that not only do we update this as a team every Monday morning, but I also update this every single day, Monday through Friday, so that you can have the latest and greatest. Very important week this week when it comes to the overall market. It's going to be a packed economic calendar this week that will absolutely affect rates. You can see behind me where the bond market is down 3.5 basis points. And you can see that it's going to be a huge week this week. Let's go ahead and click on this week. We already have pending home sales up 4% for the month of August. We're going to talk about this and how it relates to the Austin area. We do have the pending home sales index. Of course, that went up. You've got Dallas Fed manufacturing. That just went down way more than the previous. And then today we've got a few auctions. We've got the 3-month. We've got the 6-month. T-bill auction. We've got President Trump speaking at 12:15. But we have the FOMC. I'm more interested in the FOMC because that really moves the market more than anything. That's going to be the Federal Open Market Committee. I'm a big fan of Member Williams. He tends to shoot it straight, so I really like to pay attention to what he has to say. Going into Tuesday, we have the Home Price Index, meaning tomorrow morning, this is released at 0800 hours. By about 10 a.m., I will be able to update a few resources that we have available. The one that we're going to update really right around 9 to 10 a.m. is going to be let's go ahead and take a look at this one. It's going to be the Freddie Mac House Price Index. This is going to be the resource that we will be able to update tomorrow morning as soon as this house price index is released. I love this house price index because it compares the city of Austin with the top 40 cities across the entire nation population-wise, so the top biggest 40th population-dense cities in the entire country, but also it tracks a lot of cities in America. This index tracks a total of, let's go ahead and just get this exact number, I don't want to guess, 384 cities. And then it ranks all 384 cities. What is happening with pricing? This is going to be a very lagging indicator because this is going to be, take a look at this. This is September 29th, giving us the reading for July, which is the average for the 3 months. So it's going to be July, June, and May. So May, June, July, the average of May, June, July gets reported for July at the end of September. So imagine and everyone pays attention to this at the national level. This drives the perception of the market at the national level. And yet it's activity that happened back in February, March, April, May. The reason I say February is you price a property in February, you negotiate a property in March, goes under contract maybe 30 to 45 days, ends up selling in May. That sale based on a market that was a February, March, April market is now reported in July for July data that's reported at the end of September. Very lagging indicator. But we all pay attention to this. So this is important for us to read that data, explain that data to our clients. We need to understand this data. But that's why we pull data on a daily basis, because we want to know what's happening right now, today, in the Austin market. That's going to be Tuesday. Super important. We've got job opening, labor turnover. That's going to be your jolt. How many quits, how many fired, how many jobs are available. And then we've got Wednesday, a lot of mortgage information, more payroll information coming out Wednesday, manufacturing information. And then Thursday, we've got more job data coming out, vehicle sales. And then Friday, big day Friday, that's going to be payroll. How many people are unemployed? What's the unemployment rate? How many jobs were created? And that's been a tough report here over the past few months. We have not had good news on payroll over the past few months. So as you can see, this could very well be a very volatile week for rates. So I'm going to keep you posted via email. I'm going to keep you posted through our internal Facebook group. If you are not a member of our internal Facebook group, please go ahead and send me an email. I'll send you an invite. Join our internal Facebook group. Let's go ahead and get started with the new listen to pending ratio. As you know, the first thing that we are going to do is we are going to update the previous active under contract and pending for the past few weeks, just to make sure that we have the most up-to-date data. The reason why we have to go backwards in time is, unfortunately, agents are not that good when it comes to updating information. Sometimes we are updating pendings 4, 5, 6 weeks down based on when it actually went pending. I also want to remind you that we are looking at the 6-county area. That's going to be Travis, Williamson, Hayes, Caldwell, Burnett, and Bastrop. It's going to be Travis, Williamson, Hayes, Caldwell, Burnett, and Bastrop counties. We are going to take a look from September 15th all the way through September 22nd. Let me go ahead and just do the date, 15 to the 22nd. First thing active under contract, this number is going to go up to 477. And then we're going to take a look at pending. This number is going to go from 371 to 377. Let's go ahead and update the previous week, 8 through the 15th. This is going to be 424. And let me go ahead and just click on active under contract just to make sure. This is going to be 476. Good, it doesn't change. Let's go ahead and update from the 1st all the way through the 8th. And this is going to be 433. 1st to the 8th, 433 active under contract. Let's take a look at pending. This is going to be 419. That goes up by 1, 419. I no longer have to update the active under contract. That's going to be all updated. And now this is going to be 454. Let me just do a few more weeks just to make sure everything is perfect. We're going to go all the way to the 4th. This is 482. Perfect. This is going to be also 468. Perfect. So we're all good. We can now start updating this week. Let's take a look at what's going on over the past 6.5-ish or so days. It is 10/11. And keep in mind that this morning, all the information is going to be updated. You're going to be able to go into the teamprice.com, insight and statistics, new listing to pending ratio, and you can get all the latest and greatest information from this past week tomorrow morning. I'm also going to email you the updated information so that you have access to it. Number of new listings, we're looking at 793. Last week, we were at 914. Right now, we're at 793, meaning we're going to lag last week. That is normal. That tends to happen between now up until January. Every week, just a few, just less listings entering the market. It's just a normal cyclical part of the market. People tend to pull back on new listings entering the market. What we want to see is we want to see pendings not pulling back to that extent. We do start seeing less pendings, but we want that gap to be as close to 1 as possible, as close to that 0.85 into the 0.9 as possible. That is why we're updating this information. Let's go ahead and take a look at price increases. Wait, is this right? Okay, interesting. 96. We had a 94 back July 7th. And we're at 96 right now. Last week was 284, 207, 169, 164, 340, 202, 243, 285. We're at 96. Wow. Okay, interesting. Let's go ahead and take a look at price decreases. Ooh. Okay. 1793. 95%. We hit 96% back July 7th. That was a record high. That was a 25-year record high when we hit that 96%. We're at 95%. So we did break this trend. We broke this 9-week trend where we were under that record of 96 and 95. We're back at 95%. Well, what does this mean? That means out of everything that could have gone up or down in price, 95% went down in price. And this number is quite shocking, 96 price increases, where from the beginning of the year, let me go all the way back to the beginning of the year, we've been averaging 190, and we're now at 96. So way less price increases, and on the percentage, that number went up to 95. Let's take a look at back on the market, see what's going on here. We're at 169. 21%, holding steady at 21%, which is really interesting. When I go all the way back to the beginning of the year, let's take a look at the average going all the way back. Average is 18. So we've got just a tight, little bit higher than we are currently a little bit higher than the average going all the way back to the beginning of the year. So 21%, which is a fairly high number given all of the price decreases. This is actually a fairly high number. Let's go active under contract. We are at, 378. A little bit lower than expected. Now this is where you get to guess. 5 guesses. I need 5 guesses. I need 5 amazing team price agents. Incredible, amazing team price agents to guess how many pendings over the past 6.5 days. As you write down your guess, I will read them out loud once we reach 5. Melanie Price starting us off at 221. We've got Precious at 251, followed by Anai at 210. Brittina at a very bearish 121. Sonia Leah at a bullish 284. Sonia coming in at 233. Monica wrapping us up at 280. Let me go ahead and just click on the pending. And oh, Lord, have mercy. Okay, it starts with a 1. It starts with a 1. But the good news is 198. But it does start with a 1, which is not what I was expecting. So, Bertina, way to go. You're the only one that started with a 1. So in my mind, you just kind of, you won. Everyone else went over. So you won the Price is Right. Congratulations, Bertina. Come on down. So we are starting off the week at a 0.60 ratio. Let's compare year over year. Let's do a year over year comparison right here. Wow, y'all. Okay, so few things here that we need to just really analyze. On the new listing side of things, we now have 2 weeks, and this is going to be a third week. So we're going to have 3 weeks in a row where we are having less new listings entering the market compared to the same exact week last year. Less new listings entering the market. We're currently at 16.4. We'll get about another 75 or so listings come on the market. Maybe even 50 listings come on the market. 50 to 75 between now and 11:59 p.m. tonight. Actually, I'm going to take that back. We're not going to do that because it's the 29th today. No one's going to list their home on the 29th. You know what they're going to do? They're going to wait until the 1st. That's what's going to happen. So we're going to be week over week or year over year, same week. We're going to be down over 100 listings. Same exact week, year over year. Because everyone's going to wait until October 1st-ish or so just to relist their properties on the market. I do expect an increase in withdrawals at the end of this month. So we are already down 16.4%. We're going to be double-digit percentage down compared to last year. On the price increase, we're down 67. On the price decrease, we are already up 11. So these two numbers right there, we have more price decreases compared to last year. We've got way less price increases compared to last year. We've got less back on the market. But the really shocker right here is the fact that this is now going to be the 5th week where we are lower than last year on properties being absorbed by the market. On top of that, even though we have less new listings entering the market over the past 3 weeks, as a percentage, we have way less properties going under contract this year compared to last year. And you can see that everything switched right when we entered into September. We had a pretty fantastic end of June all the way into August, all the way to the end of August. Y'all have been a part of these meetings. It's like we were getting so bullish. I mean, look at this week. We had this week from August 4th all the way to August 11th compared to last year. We had less new listings entering the market, but we had 4.3% increase in properties that went under contract. Well, let's just take a look at this. If you look at August, we've got an average of 4.4% increase on the number of pending. What did I just go over here just a few seconds ago on the economic calendar? Look at this. Pending home sales across the nation up 4%. The national market matches perfectly the Austin market. The Austin market, let me go ahead and just add this negative. It matches perfectly. We're roughly up 4.4%. The national market was up 4%. Just amazing how it almost exactly the same, but this is that lagging indicator because they are reporting this figure today. It's September 29th. They're reporting it for August, but what are we doing? We're doing the week by week. So we already know that we are 4 weeks ahead of the headlines. We know that the market already switched. We know that we are now trending back year over year, but the headlines do not know that. So this is why it's important for us to review this information, be ahead of it, because you're going to be going to listing presentations where the headline is going to be pending sales are up 4%. And then your seller's going to be like, well, wait a second, you're telling me something different. And this is where you have to say, that's because we rely on up-to-date daily information that we pull every single day, Monday through Friday. We review it. We know market data authority is one of our non-negotiable core values. Now, this drop so far, we are going to have more pendings. You all know we're going to have more pendings, but simply based on where we are right now, we're going to have less of a demand in real estate compared to the week before, certainly compared to 2, 3, 4 weeks ago. Though the gap between new listings and properties that are going under contract, unfortunately right now for the month of September, is actually widening. And that can be expressed on this new listing to pending ratio of 0.60, whereas the same exact week last week was 0.91. But starting off at 0.60, where are we going to land 2, 3, 4 weeks from now as we continue to update the pending? We're going to be right around that 0.75. That's where we're going to be, 0.75 versus the 0.91 that we had last year, which is just really amazing, just incredible. Let me go ahead and just keep on going right here. We're going to update the monthly data. First thing I'm going to do is take a look at August to see if I have to update anything in August, and that's going to be pending. That stays the same. Let me take a look at active under contract. That stays the same. So now we can start updating what has happened so far in the past 29 days. Number of new listings, 3366. And we're going to be down. There's no way that in the next 2 days we are going to bridge this gap. September of 2024, we had 3,691 in new listings come on the market. So far, we've got 3,360. That is a difference of what? 315. So we got roughly what? 315 listing difference. We're not going to get 315 listings between now and the end of the month. It's just not going to happen. We only have a day and a half. No way. So we are going to be negative year over year on the number of new listings. Let's take a look at price increase. We are looking at 637. Let's look at price decrease. We are over 5,000. That's going to be 6,822. That number is going to be 92%. There you have it. So there's another indicator that September is just looking like we've got just a little bit more pressure on the market compared to August, because we have a higher percentage of properties that went down in price compared to properties that went up in price. There's that 90% for August, and here's that 92% here so far in September. And boy, how fast things change so fast. We were so encouraged in August. Pendings were up every single day. Up. We're up 4%. We're up 4.5%. We've got a better new listen to pending ratio 1 week. And then September comes, and it's like the first week of September. It's like, whoa, what just happened with all of the August momentum? We've got a better rate environment. What in the world just happened? Now, of course, we had other articles and other headlines that people are really concerned about. We've got employment figures that came out. So a lot of stuff did come out where the consumer said, I'm just going to wait a little bit. I have been talking about the term deflationary mindset. That is something that I've been talking about. And I am personally convinced that the consumer has entered a deflationary mindset. It's a expectation that prices are going to be better tomorrow. Rates are going to be better tomorrow. When I say tomorrow, I mean 3 months from now, possibly 6 months from now. So now the consumer is more on the wait and see approach. That's where the psychology of the consumer is right now. I am personally convinced of that. And the data is certainly eye-opening. Melanie Price said September is historically awful. You are not wrong about that. September absolutely tends to be a month where things do pull back within our market. And I'm more looking at, okay, well, not September compared to May or June. What about September compared to September? We know that September, the market tends to pull back. Well, is it pulling back more on the ratio side of things? Is it pulling back more than September of last year? Let's take a look at back on the market. We are at 688 back on the market. There's that 20% active under contract. We are at 1567. And now let's take a look at pending. Oh man, this is for the entire month of September, you all. This is the 6-county area. I mean, what's the population of the 6-county area? 2 million people? 2 million people roughly, population of the 6-county area. City of Austin, 1 million. In this number, the total number of pending transactions so far this month, last September it was 1840. We only have 37 hours and 43 minutes left till we go into October, and we have so far 1,226. We have 1,226. 1,226. Melanie Price said, how does this September compared before COVID? Yeah, we'll take a look at that. Let me go ahead and print this as a PDF, and we'll take a look at all of that information. It's just going to take me a second to switch over and print this out as a PDF. Closing so far, we're at 1954. Withdrawals, are we going to cross 1,000? Yeah, we're definitely over 1,000. We're 1,017 withdrawals. Last September, we had 820. Right now, we're at 1,014. And then expireds, we're at 416. And we already beat the withdrawals from last September. September before, we had 850. And on the expired, we're absolutely going to beat the 661. We're really close to beating September 2023 on expireds. Y'all, just to put in perspective, so far, we've had 17,211 properties get taken from the market, withdrawn or expired. Just amazing. 17,211 properties get taken away from the market. Let me go ahead and just save this really quick. And what I'm going to do is really, really quick, while you all look at my side profile right here, I am going to use my other computer, and I am going to print out the new listing to pending ratio as a PDF so that we can review all this information. So just give me 1 second so I can just grab this information here really quick. It's just going to take me about a second or so just to print it as a PDF so that we can review the entire thing. This is one of those interesting Mondays where I do want to review everything just because so much is changing on the market. Just interesting activity that's happening. So it's just going to take me a little bit of time to go ahead and just save this as a PDF using a separate computer. And give me 1 second right here, and then I'll be able to get this information here over to this other screen so that we can review it. Give me 1 second. It's just going to take me about another 5 or so seconds. Okay, perfect. Now this information is uploading, and then we are going to be able to refresh this screen right here. Here's the new listing to pending ratio, and you can see it says 926, and I'm still uploading and updating the information, so just give me 1 more second so that this can actually sync over with this page, and then we will review everything. Let me make sure. Yeah, it's still updating. So let's just give it a few more seconds, and we will be able to take a look at it. There is the new listing to pending ratio. Perfect. I have it updated. Here we have it. It is now fully updated. You now have access to the latest and greatest. So let's take a look at some of these September comparisons. Here's the new listing to pending ratio. Let's take a look at this one right here. So we're at a 0.69 right now. We're going to end, I'd say, closer to that 0.71. So we're going to be very much in between 2022, 2023. But before that, I mean, even before COVID, we have to go all the way back to the 2006 all the way to the 2010 for us to get anything close to what we are experiencing right now. Even 2009, we got up to a 0.75. Here we've got a 0.66, got up to a 0.71. 2024, not bad for September at a 0.80. But once again, this 0.69 is going to go up. I would even say it's going to be higher than 0.71. We could very well end at about the 0.73. So it is going to be better than 2022, 2023. There's no way that it's going to be 2024. It's going to lag 2024. And we had such a nice run up in the market, even pre-COVID, going all the way to 2019. Really nice run up into the market. So I almost discount this right here. I mean, you just pretty much have to do that. At 3.5 years into this correction, I am not surprised by these numbers anymore. Certainly feels that way. Look at, we're entering 4 years when you think about it. This is when the market just hit an absolute wall. Prices peaked May of 2022. That's when we knew that we were going to have an entirely new, different world. And then we've got some spots where some encouraging spots. We get into the 0.8, 0.85. Historically, December tends to be really good, more so because the number of new listings entering the market tends to go down by quite a bit. That's why I tell sellers, and they're like, do I keep my listing on the market or possibly relist it for the fourth quarter? Or let's just take it off, wait 3 years, relist it in January. And I'm like, do not take it off. Let's let it expire. If you've got a listing expire in the end of September, maybe end of October, fine, let it expire. Let's do a refresh. Maybe take new pictures, do a little bit of a restaging, get it really nice and cleaned up, redo the entire listing, redo the pictures, relist the property 3 to 5 days after it expires. Let the ADOM reset. Brand new pictures, no matter what. Maybe do the kitchen pictures, something that really highlights the property. Get it relisted before the end of the year because inventory goes down by so much when we get into the fourth quarter. But there's that 0.69 right there. This is going to be number of active listings. This is for the 6-county area. We're going to take a look at the entire MLS. But the 6-county area, we're at 14,536. Active listing month over month, we're down 6%, but year over year for the 6-county area, we're up 9%. And here we've got a 25-year record high on the number of active listings for the 6-county area. Active per 100,000 population, this is going to be the highest number going all the way back to 2010, where we had 725 active listings per 100,000 people. We've got 564. So we do not have nearly as many active listings per population, index by population, compared to 2005 all the way through 2010. But this is going to be the record high all the way back to 2010. Let's take a look at a few more things. Let's focus on new listings. Absolute record high on new listings. We're up 5.1%. Cumulative new listings. And I'm going to review some of this other information later on. I do want to show you the active inventory, some detailed reports on active inventory, because there are a few interesting things that are happening right now that we need to be aware of. And let me go ahead and make sure that we have the latest and greatest right here. Let me just close. This is going to be for Friday. So let me go ahead and just open up the new one. Let's open up the new one really quick. It'll just take about a second or so. Okay, here we go. This is going to be the new one, updated this morning. As of this morning, we're at 16,867 listings, down 11 from Friday. We've got a drop of 122 week over week. Month over month, we've got a drop of 1.54%. Year over year, we are up 13.7%. On the pending side of things, we are down. And you can see the transition that happened right after the first week of September. At one point, we were up 5.8% year over year on the number of pending, and this lines up exactly with the national pending that came up 4% for the entire nation. This is a very good August year over year. August outperformed August of 2024, but so far in September, unfortunately, all of that gain is now backtrack. We are now underperforming. The activity index for resale is sitting at 16.5%, even though resale comprises of 74.5% of the entire market. On the pending side of things, it comprises of 61.2% of pendings. New construction is only 1/4 of the market, and yet it's 38.8% of all pending transactions. That's going to give you an activity index of 26.77, overall activity index under 20%. Another gain on short sale, we're at 75 or 74 short sales right now. That's going to be a gain from the number that we had on Friday. Let me show you active listings up 13.7, pending down 3.2. This is the one that I want to focus on right here. I want to focus on this one. Let's start drawing a few arrows. Take a look at pendings. Pendings are fairly flat when you look at the past 2.5 years. They're fairly flat. They peaked close to, let's just take a look at what they peaked. It briefly touched 5,700 back in May. 5,700. And then we went all the way down 2024. That was going to be the lowest one. That's going to be the low fours back in, even under 4, of course, when you look at this number. But that was all the way back January 2024. But for the most part, we're really bouncing around that 4,000 range. A little bit higher, get up to 43, 4,400, and a little bit lower, depending on the seasonality of real estate, just the cycle of real estate. That's what we're noticing. Not that much deviation. All right, we've got some highs, we've got some lows, we've got some highs, but the line is going down historically over the past 2.5 years. It is trending down, not by much. Then, of course, you take a look at what? The active listings. And the active listings are, there's that gap. And what does this gap contribute to? Of course, increase in inventory, lower activity index, pressure on pricing. So it's just really interesting to look at. There's still business to be had. It's not like we've got a 50% drop in activity out there. It's easy to look at this data, look at the new listing to pending ratio. The new listing to pending ratio does not dictate how busy you're going to be. It's the spread between what's coming into the market, the availability of inventory that your buyers have. We are still bouncing around that 4,000. At any given moment, we've got roughly 4,000 properties that are pending. So there is still demand for real estate out there. People are still making decisions related to real estate. They just have a lot more options. That is what's happening. And with a lot more options, you get pressure on pricing. Now, have we noticed a slight decline in pendings? No doubt about that. Absolutely, we've noticed a slight decline in pendings. This is just that the line goes down. So that is a fact. Buyers, certain number of buyers are pausing and saying, I believe that prices are going to be lower. Therefore, I'm just going to wait a little bit. The good news is that we're not seeing a 50% drop in buyer activity. No, by no means. As a matter of fact, even last month, it was actually a gain. So far this month, we are looking at a drop, but that's simply because we are now entering a phase where we're noticing a lot of price drops. And let's take a look at price drops really quick. 58.8% of all active listings currently on the market have actually had a price drop. And some cities are just insane. City of Austin, 58.3. Look at Bastrop, 61.5. Cedar Park, really surprising. Historically, Cedar Park's done very well. It's doing very well right now, but we're looking at a 64.8% of all the active 284 listings have actually already had a price drop. You've got Georgetown, 60%. So you can see these numbers. We've got a lot of price drops going on right now. And then you've got the price drops on the pendings. And when you look at the city of Austin right here, there are 707 pending properties currently in the city of Austin. 83.3% of those pending properties had a price drop before it went pending. And that's going to be the second highest city. The only other city is going to be Spicewood at 84.6%. Really, really interesting. We've got new construction. We've got occupancy. So you can take a look at all this information. Another thing that I want to point out, because I just cannot resist, I went ahead and added a little data point to one of the resources that we track on a daily basis. Give me a zip code. Someone here give me a zip code. Any zip code. I don't care what it is. Give me a zip code. Okay, 78634. Let me pull up 78634 here for you. Seven eight six three four. I'm going to go ahead and click on the zip code 78634. Perfect. This is what I added for you all this morning. I added this. It displays how many active, how many pending. Now, we all know that the activity index is going to be what? Pending divided by active plus pending. We always had the number of active right here. Let me do my little red marker. We always had the number of active here. But you really couldn't tell, well, how many pendings are there? Now, we've always tracked pendings. We've always tracked, 78634. I'll take a look at 78634. Let me go ahead and get it. 78634, Hutto. Perfect. Thank you. And here's Hutto. 20.2% activity index. Pending divided by active plus pending. We always had the active right there. But you always had to guess how many pendings. If you're really good at math, you could reverse the calculation like, well, I've got one and I've got the other one. How many pending? Well, I don't want you to do that. I want you to go out and just having to search the information. This is for me. Like I was looking at this saying, well, wouldn't it be nice if we just had the pending there also? So I went ahead and added that. So when you look at the activity index, you can immediately see how many active and how many pending. So 360 active, 91 pending in this specific zip code. So that's like a little tiny little, be really easy for me just to add that one little data point without having to reformat absolutely everything. It's just really, really easy. It makes it even nicer when you're looking at zip codes that have a really low activity index, like the 78701 zip code, to where now you can see, wow, there are 230 active listings currently in the market and only 14 that are pending, which is just shocking, just really amazing. Just incredible when you look at it. And when you click on activity index right here, we also added this to the top. So when you look at the detailed activity index report that breaks it down per price range, breaks it down per square footage, we now also have this on top. So here's a 78701, 5.7% activity index on Monday, September 29th. Active 230, pending 14. So all the information is there. Our goal, of course, is to absolutely equip you with the latest and greatest with all of the information so that you can help your clients make an excellent decision. Let's take a look at the summary for the entire market, including pricing. That's going to be The famous Austin Real Estate Briefing. As you know, this is updated on a daily basis, Monday through Friday. We are currently at 16,867 active listings. You all know we hit a peak high of 18,146 on Monday, June 30th. And there's that normal market cycle. It happens every single year. 13.7% year over year increase in active listings. We did already reach a record high on the cumulative number of new listings from January through September. This is going to be a 25-year high. We're 23.9% above average. We are down 3.2% on pending. Cumulative pending, we're down 3%. We were hoping that with August, that it was going to roll into September on the year-over-year increase in pendings, and that we were going to end pretty much flat with 2023, 2024. We could very well see a fourth quarter bump on pendings. But as of now, if things continue the way that we're seeing in the last 3 weeks of September, I just do not see the pending numbers beating last year or 2 years ago on pending. So as of now, we are below. Activity index, of course, is lower because we are seeing a decrease in pendings. We're seeing an increase in active listings. So the activity index is under 20%, 19.4. Last year, 22%. New listing to pending ratio for the entire month is at a 0.68. The good news is that we are over that 0.66 that we saw back in 2022, and that is good news on that. When you look at the difference between new listings and what went under contract, and we add all of that together from January all the way to today, we're looking at a plus 7,194, meaning 7,194 more new listings enter the market than were absorbed by the market. And you can see that pending year over year just really going down. A little bit of an increase right there, but then unfortunately this year that number is trending down. The new listing to pending ratio for the entire year so far is at a 0.70. We've had 33,478 properties go under contract, but we've had 41,172 properties come on the market, plus 7,080 properties go back on the market. So you add these two numbers together, you're looking at 48 or so, 49,000 properties that have actually come on the market. When you look at properties that have been withdrawn, 75, 78 have been withdrawn, and then 4,566 so far this year have expired. And that's going to give us that 0.7 ratio. The new plus back on the market divided by the active under contract plus pending. Months of inventory right at 6. Last year we had 5.33. Right now we're right at 6 months of inventory. The cities that are killing it, doing very well, Manchac, Buda, Cedar Park, Kyle, all, we got 3 cities under 4, Kyle right at 4.01. And then the cities that are really struggling, you've got Dale, Smithville, Spicewood, Lago Vista, all pretty high inventory. City of Austin, year over year, we're up 1.3%. City of Austin, year to date, we're up 23.4%. We are forecasting roughly 2,300 sales this month. Agents are really bad when it comes to updating the MLS with sold properties. So we're going to hold on to this forecast until about the first week of October. We'll have enough real sold that have been posted to where we're going to have a really good indication of exactly how many properties sold. Could be as low as 2,100, could be around the 2,200, but we're going to go ahead and stick with our forecast of 2,300. Simply because we know that agents are really bad when it comes to updating sold properties. Even at a 2,300 sold projection, that's still going to put us at 4.2% cumulative drop compared to last year. When you look at the cumulative sold, and this is using a fairly bullish forecast of 2,333. I'm just going to shoot it straight. That's actually being very bullish. When you don't adjust as much, you're closer to that 2150 mark. I'm going to go ahead and just stick with 2333. That is on the bullish side of things. Even with that bullish number, we are looking at 896 properties closed from January all the way through September, adjusted by population. So, unfortunately, as of now, it certainly does put us in the least number of sold properties adjusted for population in 25 years, from January all the way through September. When you adjust it based on the number of realtors, the good news is because realtor count has actually been going down year over year. Every year, the board is losing more and more realtors. So even though transactions are going down and population is increasing, so that's why the previous number is going down, because population is increasing. Number of transactions are going down, but because population is increasing, that gap widens. In our case, even though number of transactions are going down, the number of realtors for those transactions is actually going down at an accelerated rate. We've got more agents leaving the business in relation to the properties that are closing year over year. So we get to enjoy a very small and yet a welcome bump on the number of transactions per 1,000 realtors. There are more deals to go around per realtors because more realtors are actually leaving the business. So for us who are like, hey, no plan B, like I'm going to do great. This is it. This is my career. This is my job. That's good news. That's welcome news for us. On the sold side of things, we are currently, as of this morning, at 559,101. That's going to be a 4.6% drop month over month. We're still experiencing a gain of 1,509. That's going to be a 0.3% gain year over year. On the median side of things, we're down 11,199, 2.5%, but we are up 0.9% when you look at the median sold price year over year. We can see that on the average, we're down 18.01. On the median, we're down 22.04%. And that's going to be with that 0.9% year over year gain. We're currently at $428,801. When you look at the median sold price today, this month, compared to 36 months ago, we're down 8.77. And then this is a chart that we've all come to love, which is if today is the absolute bottom of the market and we were to appreciate and recover using the compound annual appreciation that we've had over the past 25 years, at 4.778%, we can expect a full market recovery, meaning back to peak value in only 67 months by March of 2031. The average sold price for the entire 6-county area that we cover for every single property that sold this entire year is actually up, is up by $3,299, 0.6%, whereas the median sold price is down 1.6%. I expect that median sold price is going to stay negative. And this is going to mark the first time in Austin history where we've had three consecutive years where the median sold price has actually gone down year over year. 3 consecutive years where it's gone down, all three of them. Even back in 1987, I believe it didn't happen, which is really interesting. When you look at the top 25th percentile and you compare that to the bottom 25th percentile, we can see that the bottom 25th percentile is down 3.6% on price, down 4.2% on price per foot, whereas the top 25th percentile continues just to outperform the entire market, continues to do very well, up 4% on the price, up 1.3% on the price per foot. Out of 30 cities that we track, we've got only six cities where the top 25th percentile underperformed the bottom 25th percentile. Only 6 cities. You've got Bastrop. You've got, just amazing. You got Bastrop. You've got Cedar Park. You've got Dale, Lago Vista, Manchac, and Spicewood. We've got 14 that underperformed on the price per foot. but we only have 6 that underperformed on the price. Here's another noteworthy number that changed from Friday until today. On Friday, we had 10 cities that went up in price, 10 cities, 20 that went down. And now we have, out of 30 that we track, now we have 9 cities that have gone up on price year over year. We have 20 cities that have gone down, and we have 1 city, Taylor, that's exactly the same. The median sold price in Taylor last year was $315. The median sold price in Taylor this year is $315. So that stayed exactly the same. Everything else, we've got a combination mostly down. So you've got 2/3 down, 1/3 roughly has actually gone up in price. We have now officially updated the absorption rate, and that's going to be sold divided by active. And oftentimes that sold divided by active is called the absorption rates. It measures the demand relative to the supply. The higher the absorption rate, the faster moving the market is, the larger share of properties are being sold. So you've got a very high market absorption. And then the lower that ratio, the lower the speed of the market, the lower the rate of properties being absorbed. We now have the figure for September. This number is going to go up, but we are at 13.2%. The historical average is 31.74%. We're at 13.2% right now. So thankfully, we have not beaten that 2010 figure at 11%, but we are at 13.2. I would expect this number to go up to the 15s. And then you've got our 0 to 10 market reading. I like to call this the market flow score, and it just takes a bunch of different metrics together, and it just rates the market from 0 to 10. 0, nothing's happening. You can't give it away. There is no market. 10, it cannot possibly get any hotter. It's the hottest it's ever going to get. Everyone's buying 20, 30 offers on a property. Pricing doesn't matter. Everyone wants real estate. We reached only 2-0 or 1-0 historically. That was January 2009. We reached a few 10s. Back in 2020, we reached 4 10s, and then we reached 2 10s back in 2021. Right now, we're at 3.49. So we are underperforming, and this is a 18-month leading indicator. Once this number starts consistently improving year over year, that's when we can say with a high degree of confidence, hey, things are now dramatically better, and we can now see that we've hit the bottom. Until this number starts recovering, I just cannot call it a market bottom. There's just no way. And the fact that we are noticing a pullback on this number, especially when you look at the median. The median last year was 5.77. The median so far this year is 4.48. We can now say with a pretty high degree of confidence, yeah, we can expect a little bit more of pricing pullback within the Austin market. This is a very effective leading market indicator, so much so that even though the market did not peak until May of 2022, we were able to call that the market had peaked and pricing was going to change back in 2021 because we started noticing this pullback on this market flow score. So that is going to be your market update. Really quick, let us talk a little bit about rates, because you can see behind me that good day for the bond market. Really excited for the bond market today. This is the latest rate information from this morning. We did notice a little bit of an increase in rates. We're at 6.625 on the conventional 30-year, 6.25 conventional 15-year. Thankfully, FHA still under 6 at 5.875. Not so much on VA. VA went up to 6 1/8. USDA similar to FHA, 5.875. So we did notice a little bit of an increase in rates, and that is certainly unfortunate to have seen this. But this is going to be a very important week for rates. It's going to be a very volatile week. We expect the bond market just to be crazy with so many Fed members that are speaking this week. And we've got a ton of Fed members. This is actually good news. The 3-month auction came in exactly as the previous. 6-month came in a little bit hotter than a previous. But we've got so many FOMC members that are speaking this week. It's going to set up the week as a very volatile week for rates. So we're just going to be all over the place. That is why I want you to join us for our Wednesday training. Be sure to join us for our Wednesday training. It's going to be a very lease heavy topic. We're going to go through the A to Z on anything and everything leases. We want to make sure that we are fully equipped when it comes to leases, and be sure to do the contract proficiency. You can go to resources.teamprice.com, go to learning, go to contract proficiency, and this is going to be your contract proficiency for this week. If you have not had a chance to do the contract proficiency, please dedicate some time, do the contract proficiency. It's going to be really, really important so that you always sharpen those skills, and that's going to be our Wednesday broker Q&A contract review. Dan, did you send us the letter for the market report in October? No, I have not done that, Sonia, because no one reminded me to do that. That's why I have not done that, because I have not received a reminder to do that. No. So unless someone sends me a reminder, it's not going to get... Well, you got to send me it as an email. I will forget about this text message. I compartmentalize my life, Sonia. That's why I experience no trauma. I just harden my heart and I move on. The single best coping mechanism that has ever been created. Just harden your heart and move on. So I will forget about everything here shortly. So it's good. I love it. Yes, send me an email and I'm happy to do that. Send me an email and I'm happy to do that. Do not forget market reports, super important market reports for the month of October. Very, very important market reports. Any other questions, comments, concerns, criticisms, or complaints? Or maybe I should skip it. Should I skip the market report? Just kind of let you all do whatever you want? Maybe I should do that. That's not a bad idea. Maybe I should do that. So do not forget market reports. Very important, your quarterly market reports. I'm about to finish my July market report, says Zoom user. Well, you know what? That is good. I appreciate the commitment. I will finish that task. I think that's great. I appreciate that. All right, y'all. Thank y'all so very much for joining. Super appreciate it. Have an absolutely amazing, exceptional day. Super appreciate you joining. Be on the lookout for this recording. If you do have any questions, please let me know. Here to help. Otherwise, I'll see you Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. sharp for broker Q&A. We're going to do a complete contract with the topic of lease overview, answer any questions that you may have, and I will chat with you on Wednesday.